5 seconds remaining. Fnatic's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Seconds remaining. Fnatic's turn to ban.
We are here for the BTS Pro Series. Oh, my mic, John. That's a great way to start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here for the BTS Pro Series Season 3. It is, of course, MLP Dota and John X5 joining you, John. How are you today, sir? You look fantastic.
I'm feeling fantastic as well, Mike. You know, Season 3 of the BTS Pro Series in Southeast Asia. I can't believe it's 3 seasons in. You know, it felt like we just started a few months ago. Here we are, September. The Burr months are in. So for anyone in the Philippines watching, it's Christmas season already. What a way to build it up. You know, Southeast Asia's gotten a bit of a shakeup. We've seen a few teams break up in the downtime from ESL 1 Thailand. We've seen the results of that as well. Shakeups following that. And the teams we have in line for BTS Pro Season 3, it's a lot more different. You know, we're seeing a few more of those Tier 2 teams climb up. We have Motivate Trust coming in after their performance in ESL 1. It's good to see them get more opportunities. It's going to be great to see how these teams unfold. Even our first match, Fnatic, right? This is a Southeast Asian favorite. They're playing up against New Esports, who have not had the best of runs. It's the Lance DDZ team, so it's that duo playing together again. We haven't seen too much of them in this tier of play in a while, so it's their opportunity to show up. We're gonna have to see and find out what happens here.
John, I do agree. The draft has already begun, John. Fnatic, they do go for the Veno. Tiny start. New Esports, they do end up first picking Oracle, and you know, I'd hate to bring up some bad news this early on, John, but apparently they haven't set their names properly, so so we're gonna have to, you know, just memorize each name. Times it's always a bit of fun. Second pick as well, they'll go for the Lifestealer, which, by the way, John, we haven't seen the Lifestealer so much in the meta, in the recent pro games you and I have been casting. But there's been a lot of talk about this hero being a carry again in the current meta, and it has been looking pretty good.
Remaining.
Yeah, it's specifically in this lineup, it works really well, right? Because you see Fnatic, they open with the Venom we see a ton of, with that early magic damage it brings, the early laning pressure it brings, and then you have the Tiny as well. So these two heroes are very magic focused. Lifestealer can just kind of ignore it. With Rage up, you even have the Oracle on hand to counteract that. So New Esports, they're looking to counteract that faster pace with these two heroes, and it's looking nice. We're gonna have to see what else they build up. Fnatic might be going for a bit more of an aggressive play, as mentioned. They're gonna have to watch out for certain picks that can come out. I'm looking for perhaps a focus on push from Fnatic, as we tend to see them want to play really fast. New Esports has to be ready to counteract that, but Lifestealer can kind of stall it out. It has some pretty decent timings. You mentioned it, but we don't see it too much. Now the ramblings, they do make sense, right? Again, specifically in this matchup, it looks pretty decent. Make it work. There's a reason why the Lifestealer's not showing up too much. We're gonna have to show us the reasons why it should show.
I agree. We'll have to wait for some bans to come out before we get to see any further picks. But John, I do owe you an apology, sir, for a few things. Number one, I forgot to display your body pillow, so let me just add that one on for you. How do you feel about that?
Yep.
Secondly, important. John, it is. Secondly, you got a new microphone. I see.
Yeah.
It's a very professional.
It's a step up, and I was tired of the V-Mode Boom Pro. It's a nice mic. A little bit more precise. I was so annoyed with my own voice. You know, I'd watch the VODs or I would just check the stream every now and again, and you would sound so deep, so full with your nice boom mic on the XLR input with your phantom power and stuff, and your amp. And I had a tinny little mic. It wasn't bad, but I like the fullness of this. It adds a bit more depth. Hopefully the viewers find it nice. If it's overbearing, yeah, I can't do much about it.
Yes, you can, John. We'll just force you to get a new microphone tomorrow. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Just complain as much as you want about John's voice, and we'll force him to spend some money. You know how much he hates wasting his money, but John, the viewers have spoken. Still, one more ban, and we'll get to see where these drafts are going. Because we saw the Darkseer, Prophet, and Clockwork ban from Fnatic, and so far, New Esports are just focusing on position 1s. They get rid of the Morph, they get rid of the Void. Just heroes that love versing that Lifestealer, and of course you see the Timbersaw also being removed now. Just another hero that destroys the Lifestealer in lane. And where do we head from here, New Esports? Do you want to go for that position 4 pick now? Would you rather choose another core? You'd imagine it'd have to be the Pos 4, and it will be. They'll go the Ruby.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of potent spells here, right? Venomancer, if you take those wards, which you most likely will, and you've got the poison wards. You've got a way of pressuring lanes, applying constant vision, applying constant damage. Fnatic, though, they pick up the Venge. We've seen the Venge under heavy contention before. We've seen a lot of teams play around with minus armored brings, and it can work out well. But New Esports, they go with the Bloodseeker that, you know, you talked about it a lot with your friends at ESL1. I believe it was Poglet who loved talking about the Bloodseeker. It looks like it's coming out. Yeah, it's coming out in the pos tree, though. It looks like maybe the mid, depending on what DDZ and Lance want to play, but it's there. There's some ways to trick it around here. With a Rubik, you could potentially steal Toss from Tiny. You could potentially steal Swap. With Rupture, that's one way to get the damage off.
I agree. I do like the Bloodseeker off lane for sure. I think it is very, very now in the current meta. You just go the Veil build and you spam Blood, right, John? It's not really rocket science. Just spam that spell over and over again. Just silence people and do damage. But I love where Fnatic's gone now. They're up against the Lifestealer, they're up against the Bloodseeker. You choose the Drow Ranger. She doesn't really care for getting ruptured or whatever. She's just gonna stand there anyway, you know? So just get those auto attacks in if you're the Drow, and you are more than happy. And I just think it was just a lovely pick for Fnatic. I mean, the Lifestealer hates versing Drow Ranger. It sucks.
A bad time for the Lifestealer. You've got this great natural combination with Avenge, so the minus armor you're getting is fantastic. The aura effect on Drow, it just builds up so much more value. So it does work together here for Fnatic. It plays into that playstyle. It does shove out lanes still fairly quick. You're looking at Drow and Veno now that can melt these towers quick if they want to commit. And New Esports, I mean, it's still explosive in their end. They still have ways to make it work, and they need to make it special. They don't have anything playmakery, or at least a team fight setting, something like setup or control and a wide area for them beyond and AoE root from Oracle. So you want to see that come out on their mid or off lane, again, depending on where you flex this Bloodseeker. Fnatic, they've got the Tiny for that. They've got the Venge swap. They've got the Venomancer Poison Nova. They've got AoE denial with the wards, the Plague wards as well. So I like how Fnatic's going into it in terms of push and fight. New Esports, they are tankier up front for the Lifestealer. They do have some interesting burst potential there and some interesting AoE control. It does need something to tie it together though. So that last pick's going to be extra important to really stitch in that time in for New Esports.
I do agree, but I wonder what pick up for now that'll really give them that form of control they're lacking. Just trying to rack my brain here, like what mid laner would really fit this draft now for New Esports, and you also kind of need someone who's going to close the gap on this Drow, because otherwise she's just going to be able to sit there and hit you the whole team fight. You might look towards something like a Storm Spirit. Just be able to zip in onto that Drow. Sure, you don't really like the gust of the Drow, of course, that huge silence, but at least you can just zip in. Perhaps you get a BKB up, and then suddenly you don't care about the silence, and you just take care of this Drow Ranger. If she gets swapped or tossed away, you just zip after her. No big deal. I guess you've got other picks as well. Like, well, I was about to say the Void Spirit, but he's gone. He was banned out in the first phase by Fnatic. So Storm's probably one of their only options here.
Team pick.
Yeah.
Fnatic, they're going to go for the Quap.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing stopping the Quap here. We talked about the control issue. Quap can just jump in and out. All you really have to worry about is the Oracle root, Rubik lift as well, perhaps with a combination of the Blood Rite. But those are things the Quap can dance around. It's not instantaneous control. That's something Fnatic can abuse. And of course, we've seen Moon perform spectacularly in the Quap before, so it does tie into the draft. It plays well with the Drow and the Aura. It plays with the pacing of Fnatic. Solid closer. New esports, that Void Spirit would have been perfect. The Storm Spirit still works here. Mid lane matchup though against Quap can be iffy. Really depends on how the Quap plays positioning, so gonna be interesting to see how that unfolds. New esports is gonna have to try to stitch it around. I think a Storm is still nice. The Drow, it's an issue of timing, right? You've got Storm Lifestealer, which can bomb, but Storm Lifestealer and Blood all need a little bit of farm to get rolling in the mid game, so there's a little bit of a delay in their power spikes if you do run that greedy Tricore.
Oh, okay, they're gonna go for the Zeus, which is pretty interesting. Obviously, I kind of look towards that mid lane right now with the Zeus versus Quap matchup. And I think DDZ might have a bit of a challenging time if he gets caught out too many times by that Shadow Strike. Could work the other way, of course. Moon could struggle quite a bit up against the Zeus, who does pump out a lot of magic damage. But overall, when I look at this draft of new esports, I'm still asking the question, how are you going to deal with this Drow Ranger in the team fight? I just don't see it.
I think the way to deal with it is Bloodseeker plus Zeus, actually. Like, we talked about this, we were theory crafting this for a while, right? Like the Bloodseeker magic amp with Zeus.
Right.
It's actually coming out here. So new esports, they don't have the combo with the Spectre, they don't have the combo with the Nature's Prophet.
Right.
But you do still have that Zeus Bloodseeker. So there's a lot of magic damage. The Drow Ranger Raven here has to be really cautious. He's super squishy. They're going to need a pipe up on someone fast if they want to tank through it. I'm expecting Ice to opt for a fast pipe build up here, just because of all the magic damage new esport has. We'll see if it pays off. There's a reason why we haven't seen this combo, despite the buffs Bloodseeker got. Zeus Bloodseeker, I like it on paper. They need to make it work beyond the theory.
See how it all pans out. This is game one of the whole tournament, John, for SCA, and should be a bit of a fun one here. Of course, for anyone that wasn't aware, Fnatic has changed around a player or two. But AU there as their position 5 now, as Jabs has left, and of course 21 Sav say is just yeah, he's also gone, but that was during ESL 1 Thailand. Now we have Raven in his place, so it is a different Fnatic squad. On the brighter side of things for Fnatic, Ice is also back into the roster. He had a small break, but he's here now. So I'm very, very curious to see what kind of performance Fnatic boys can put on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see just how much of a factor AO swapping in is going to play. We've seen, you know, single roster movements really shake up a team. Jabs was, of course, kind of in their captain's role as well, so to see how that dynamic changed, especially with the two supports. Like, we saw DJ and Jabs be a spectacular duo. They're going to have to work that chemistry out now. AO was part of TNC before. He's got the experience. It's not the experience I'm worried about. It's the synergy. We'll see if that pays off here.
Find out. This Raven's going to be down at the bot lane by himself for now. There's going to be a bit of an aggressive tri-lane start here for new esports, and the same is happening for Fnatic. Seeing if they can find an early first blood attempt. In fact, they've got 4 heroes up here from Fnatic. DJ going to be waiting there on the Tiny. If he can get a toss back into his team. Looks like Yamate probably is not going to bother going for the Banner Rune, as he is completely alone. There's absolutely no point in him trying. So there should be a very passive 2-for-2 bounty rune trade for the start of this game.
The battle begins.
Yeah, it's a bit slower. I think where you really want to see some aggression is from the supports. Going into the laning phase, we've seen DJ do fantastic work in the Tiny, and we've seen a lot of Tiny plays go for that early first blood. They aren't clumping up for a tri lane. You do see AOTP down bot. You're going to start out evenly. You can't really leave a Drow alone. That's a downside of that hero. So you're going to have to contend with the dual lanes. See how that works up. Of course, AO and Raven are up against Barry and Loon. So you've got this duo. The Bloodseeker plus Rubik is potent. Like, you start with a Fade Bolt. You could start with Telekinesis if you wanted to work with a Blood Right. So there's the sustain the Bloodseeker brings. There's the combination with the control. You have to be very cautious about your spacing here if you are Fnatic.
Yeah, Raven's already just going to be able to easily dodge the Blood Right for now, but the idea behind the Bloodseeker offlane, of course, is you generally want to push the creep wave in for the first wave and try to get the creep waves to bounce back towards your own tower using that Blood Right. That way you can get a nice XP advantage and be able to just try and dominate the lane with that extra level that you do have. So we'll have a look at the other lanes. Of course, mid lane, DDZ and Moon going to be up against each other. Moon not really struggling whatsoever quite yet, but neither is DDZ. Both are just having a swell old time hitting creeps. Looks like Moon has actually pushed his own creep wave into the opposing tier 1 tower for now, but of course it is just going to be able to bounce back his way in probably about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and the skill build for DDZ here is super safe. He went with Arc Lightning with a level in the static field. No offensive plays with the Lightning Bolt. So he's just going to focus on shoving his wave back, doing some chip damage on Moon, and forcing some early regen. Again, the first power rune is going to be important for both of these heroes. We'll see if they do invest in the support rotations out. You do see the supports are tied up. If you look at top lane, Ice and DJ on the Veno and the Tiny, trying to apply that pressure on Yamate and Mosin. Venomancer pulling the wave back. They're forcing Mosin to try and contest. They're making it harder for Yamate to find last hits. If the lane is allowed to do this, then they're going to find EXP they need to do that early damage.
DJ. He chased down. Open wound's going to be out from Yamate. Ice going to be there to try and help out. And DJ, he'll be fine. We'll just lose a lot of his HP pool, but he'll just eat a tango and be just right. Not going to leave the lane anytime soon, but Yamate is having a great old time with this lifestealer. And I guess it's the beauty of this hero into that pos 3 Venomancer is you just don't really tend to care about all the DPS over time that this Veno can have with Poison Sting. Tend to rage it off. It's not really a problem.
Yeah, he's sustaining himself well. It's going to be keen to see how they build up. It doesn't look like we're going to see the Midas play, so it's going to be a straightforward armlet build up for Yamate, looking for that early aggression. Shoving out the wave like this also gives some time for Mosin to get some XP, although
bot lane. First blood has been achieved, apparently. Barry able to get it on. Even DDC taking out a small camp, but AU is going to be the first blood going down. Barry on the Rubik to pick it up.
Yeah, and it's that potent combo of this dual lane that we talked about. Like, you've got the Rubik with lift. You just lift into the Blood Right. That's a ton of damage. Follow up with a Fade Ball, and it's even more.
He's gone top lane. DJ going to be able to walk his way around Yamate, and well, it's a 1-to-1 now. So both position 5s losing their lives early on. And, apart from that, everyone else is just farming pretty damn good. I can't really see anyone struggling on the map quite yet.
And that's the biggest takeaway for both teams. You're fine with trading your pos 5s like this because it's giving your pos 1 space. That mirror sort of kills are really fine for either side. No one's too unhappy, no one's too phased by it. That did give some time for the supports to go out in the rune spots. Barry does grab the arcane, so neither mid finding that. I don't believe we do have an early bottle up, but we're not going to have those refills.
Ice. Now going to be attacked up by Yamate. DJ is going to be there to try and help, but Yamate does rage up and just continues chasing down Ice. Eventually getting the kill. Now Mosin trying to get himself out of there, but DJ continuing the chase still does get the kill. And Yamate, oh, just continue harassing him out. He will not be able to kill the Tiny, but it won't matter. He already got the Venomancer and even bot lane. AU going down once again to Barry.
Yeah, this is not good news for Fnatic. They lose their offlaner and their support once more. The early momentum New Esports wants to get out with these heroes. You know, Lifestealer wants to snowball, Bloodseeker wants to snowball. It's building up. It's not too bad yet. It's a slight 1k lead. Hard. heroes can come online a bit faster. They can start applying pressure early, and you're seeing the effects of that life stealer. That matchup against Ice Ice Ice, it's fantastic, his rage. But there's also a huge move speed advantage Yamate has. He moves at 370. He's got an Orb of Venom. If you close that gap, get one right click off, you're not running away from this life stealer.
I actually didn't realize that's how big the disparity was between the two, but Ice 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 325 movement speed in comparison to the 370 of Yamate. Kind of insane. Ice 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 will have to watch himself as Mosin is there, ready to go whenever. Gonna wait it out for now. They have vision on Ice Ice Ice, but they aren't looking to make the play quite yet. Still mid lane, DJ. Gonna have a run through between the tier 1 and tier 2 mid tower, but he will not spot out DDZ on the Zeus. Gonna wait for a little bit, but there's probably no point in being here, so it looks like he'll just go and try and secure that top power rune, which Moon is already able to take. In fact, he'll give DJ the bottle.
It's that beautiful Warden play to watch that movement out, and of course you've already got DDZ. He's been farming those camps for a while, as is he's farming efficiently, so he had a rough time in lane, but he's ahead in last hits because of that. 45 for 1, a good spot for Zeus to be in. Of course the ramp up to Ags is going to be important, and I think they're really just waiting for perhaps her Bloodseeker to be up at 6. Once you've got that Rupture on, you can make a lot more aggressive plays around the map.
Moon's looking to make an aggressive play right now on DDZ, but some nice posturing there from our Zeus, just hiding in the tree line. Does also have Barry right behind him. They've got Ice 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 coming in though. The Venomancer scouting out that tree line with the Venom wards. And very dangerous predicament here for DDZ and Barry. I suppose on the positive, you can just arc lightning and push the wave out, but DJ threatening lives. Bloodright going to be out. They do lift up the Tiny. DJ going to go for the TP, but it will be cancelled off by Mosin. Well, they'll give up the push attempt on that T1 mid tower, though it is very low now.
Yeah, this is early rotation out to take this key objective, but this is 7.5 minutes in. It's already at 170 HP, so New Esports, they're going to have to keep that healthy. It's not in deny range as well. The one boon they're getting is that Yamate's got free space to farm. Our life sealer that was already big is getting to a faster point. Armlet's going to be up at around 10-minute mark, maybe 11 if it goes a bit later, but you're going to see a very early active life sealer up and running. Imagine that with a Bloodseeker once you have Rupture running down at you with the Infest Bomb. That's not something you want to deal with early if you're Fnatic.
That's very true. Especially if you lose this mid-tier 1 tower, it's going to open up more farming spots for Fnatic and just open up the map in general, which should allow Moon to start setting a tempo for his team. But, well, if you can get that armlet up in time for Yamate, you should be able to fight back. Still, Ice 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 is trying to make it as hard as humanly possible, but again, on the Veno, there's just not much he can do. They're going to just try and commit to pushing down this tier 1 top tower instead. Even Raven now joining them on the Drow Ranger. I don't believe New Esports will attempt to try and defend. I'm sure they'll just go for the trade down to the bot tier 1. And yeah, Yamate, he'll go for the TP down bot. They'll just start trading towers.
Yeah, it's not the biggest tower to lose, that top one. You're dragging out the safe lane carry as well, so he's not really farming up as efficient. Raven not up there in last hits. Definitely a big divide between him and Yamate. So New Esports, they've got that 2k lead. They're looking to, again, apply that pressure bot. You're not really seeing a defense opportunity here for Fnatic, so it's going to be a straight up trade. Ice 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 is moving down though.
They want to try. Rupture going to be out from Candy. He has the bail. Ice 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 going to take a lot of damage already as they get the Thunder God's Wrath in and they take him out. Now DDZ chasing down AU, gets a double kill, but a great Sonic Wave out from Moon. And now DJ in on the Tiny, but he's also got Moon. Oh, the Bloodright.
Oh, Yamate!
Oh,
the knife!
Yamate, why?
Just to make sure, Mike, you know, you make sure you don't lose anyone. They don't drop anyone, to Yamate's credit. They get 4 kills. And that rotation out, it looks so good. Right out of nowhere, you see DJ and Moon come in, but the burst damage wasn't enough. Yamate, he infested in, they got enough damage off. This is the power of New Esports draft. It comes online in a snap. Right, that early veil from Candy, it just means they can fight so much faster. You don't need your Zeus to have one. He's going to have his damage amped up. This is all without the Blood Rage up and running as well. Once you've got the EXP to invest in that skill, to even amp up your damage even more, if Fnatic doesn't find that same item timing with a pipe, it's going to be really difficult to maintain yourself in these engagements.
I agree with that. So, very, very successful team fight for New Esports, and I just kind of wonder why Fnatic even bothered trying to defend that tier 1 bot tower. They'd already gotten the tier 1 top at that point, and well, they tried, but it was definitely far from successful. Put Raven just a little bit further behind now on the Drow. This is really not what you want when you're up against this lifestealer. Like, we were talking about the fact that they don't really have a way to close the gap on the Drow. But if you're going to give them this much of an advantage this early on, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Oh yeah, and it's the tricky part for Fnatic is that was also kind of them trying to flex a power spike, right? Like Moon had his Sonic Wave ready to go for a long time since hitting 6. He just never managed to find a rotation. So they felt pressured to find a kill, to find an exchange to snowball out. I mean, even DJ on Tiny, beyond those kills up top, we haven't seen rotations mid turn out too successfully. We haven't seen pickoff. So it's been a lot slower for Fnatic than they'd like. And you can see New Esports keep up that pressure. They are smoked up.
They know Ice is around that dire jungle somewhere, and with that Fortune's End to fly out, it should mean his death. Candy Loon will just commit the Rupture with the Blood Rite, of course, and didn't even get the Veil off in time. Just killed it.
Yeah,
Fnatic, they just can't respond.
It's a scary spot. Ice is the key hero too, because he's the guy who's going to build a pipe. So he's got his Head of Defiance up. It is closer than it was before into the pipe, but every second it's gone.
The Drow keep you safe.
Bit of a sad occurrence down in that mid lane, John. Just 3 heroes from Fnatic, and they're the ones backing off. Yamate the only one in that mid lane. They just don't really seem very confident right now to even risk trying for the lifestealer, and of course Yamate would easily be able to get away with that infest, but now with 5 heroes here, maybe it's time to have a crack at this. Up to DJ to get that nice initiation off on the Tiny. We throw a scan out, but it does not catch anyone. Try and loop around through the dire jungle. Seems that New Esports are aware something is awry here, and they're just waiting behind that tree line. Yamate will just deny the T1 mid tower, but now they run into still range does come out in time now with the Blood Rite. DJ going down so darn quickly, and they get absolutely 0 out of that Fnatic.
They don't get the tower gold, they don't find a kill, they use the smoke for that. Again, they feel pressure to find kills. Like, they need to make something happen with Aquap, they need to make something happen with DJ. But they're not. They're feeding some advantage here to New Esports. It's a 5k lead now. We're at 2-10 at the 13.5 minute mark. And you can just see how confident New Esports is. They know the movements of Fnatic. They've read their smokes out really well. So they're not giving too much breathing room out here to Fnatic. And Fnatic, they've got to find some answers. They need to get these smoke ganks working. DJ is saving up for a blink in the Tiny. That's going to help out, especially when Moon jumps in. But it's still a long ways off. This is a support Tiny. They're trying to give him space. It's not going to be as fast as you'd want it to be. Raven, well, for his part, level 9, is saving up for his Yasha. We'll see how he itemizes beyond that. Perhaps looking for the Manta here to get in a better spot stats-wise. Could go with the SNY as well. The timings of this Drow is just not as nice as the Lifestealer compared to Yamate. The Yamate's 11, 2 levels ahead of Raven. He's in a fantastic spot. He's going to have his Heaven's Halberd up soonish. And once you can get the disarm off onto the Drow, she does no damage.
Not only that, but just defensively, the Heaven's Halberd's going to be pretty darn nice. It's going to be a real problem here for Raven on this Drow Ranger. You don't have that tempo setter anymore for Fnatic. Like, Moon did not... He didn't get the start he wanted on that Quap. He didn't get a couple kills and start rotating across the map and finding even more. He just couldn't quite get there. Trying to chase down DDZ too long, and now they're just trying to play the split push game. But there is a big smoke out from New Esports. Reinvade That Radiant Triangle, and then they'll run into AU, who actually does scout him out, because AU is just guaranteed to die here to Yamate. They'll try and buy time, but the Rage is going to be there, and the Purifying Flame is going to take him out by Mosin. They will not be able to commit to the tier 1 tower push, though, as Moon has ensured the creep wave is pushed out.
Yeah, and that's the one positive right now for Fnatic. Like, despite these kills coming out for new esports, they haven't progressed in objectives. Mid-tier 1 for Fnatic, still very healthy. Top tier 1 as well in a really good spot. So there's no way to advance map control for new esports, despite the 6k lead. That's something they'll look to fix. They spot Moon, though.
Radiant's
He'll
top
be
tower
alright.
is under attack.
Get the TP off in time.
Radiant structures are
You've
fortified.
got DJ now, at least he does have the Blink Dagger coming out on the Tiny. So now there's a decent way to close the gap and get some nice tosses off here for DJ. We haven't really seen any kind of good initiation as of yet from this Tiny, but at this point he should be able to find some decent
Radiant's
ones as they are
top
going to run
tower is
into
under
DDZ. Barry will just steal the Scream of Pain
Radiant's top
away.
tower has fallen.
Be cautious, he gets lifted up, the silence not going to be there in time. Barry almost going down to the avalanche toss of DJ. And that'll be a blink reveal out from Fnatic. They are unable to get anything out of it. It's like both teams just stare each other down in that mid lane.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit tricky now. New Esports is going to reveal another item of their own relatively soon. They've got that Ags on DDZ, so they can just go ahead and find this rotation once more with the global presence of the Zeus.
Dire's bottom tower
There it is, Nimbus
under
is
attack.
dropped. Was on Moon, Avalanche is there onto Yamate, swap out onto DJ, but he is definitely just dead. Trying to slow them down, but Rupture is going to catch out onto Raven? No. Where was the Rupture? AU goes down.
It's on Raven.
It was
He's
on
just
Raven,
kind of
okay.
stuck there. Yeah. So
Still a 2 for
couldn't
nothing
really
trade.
dive. Still a better trade for new esports, of course.
Dire's bottom tower is
Fnatic,
under
their
attack.
one boon here is that they're only losing supports. Their cores aren't being picked off. You're still somewhat keeping up in farm. It's not a good look. You look at Ice 5.8k net worth compared to compared to Candy at 7.3. There's just not enough to keep up. That pipe we've been talking about for Ice, he does have the gold, or is very close to it, hasn't committed. But they're going to need that pipe up soon. They're going to need to find a way to make these group up works, because right now, new esports is just really
Dire's
controlling
bottom tower
how
is
these
under
fights
attack.
break out and where the action happens on the map.
Got that Heaven's Halberd now up on Yamate to boot. Gonna be feeling even more confident now to fight into Fnatic. Thunder God's Wrath actually gonna kill off Moon. DDZ. That was a solo pick off in our Quap. Top lane, DJ gotta be cautious. He does blink away in time. Looks like the name of the game here for Fnatic is just continue buying time for Raven. We have seen new esports continuously trying to push that mid lane in, but it has constantly been defended.
Yeah, it's been pretty good in that sense for the hold of Fnatic. What they really expect from the Drow, I'm not
Radiant's
entirely certain.
middle
They're going for the
tower is under
SNY
attack.
buildup, which is nice, but there's a 9k lead now from new esports. Even if you get that SNY up on Raven, that alone in the Drow is not enough. There are several other things that need to come out. The BKB on Moon is going to be pivotal as well. We need to see the pipe in play from Ice, so they've got it. They can try to go for a group up, but there's so much risk right now. Candy, he's at level 11 in the Bloodseeker, so he finally has a level in Blood Rage. Imagine that in the Zeus and the damage that brings.
It'll be fun. Yamate again gonna start pushing in that mid wave. And again, Fnatic are going to be there to defend. Ice. He'll TP in and start getting those Plague Wards down. He's buying a lot of time here for Raven. Slowly making his way to that SNY. You start to wonder for new esports, like, do you even bother hanging around this mid lane any longer? It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to commit to that tower unless they do get a pick-off or two. We haven't really seen a smoke yet, but perhaps now we will when we do. Barry, he does pop one. Wrapped through to that Radiant Triangle once again.
Radiant are scanning.
Ooh, great scans.
20-minute bounty rune coming up as well, John. DJ gonna break the smoke of Yamate, so he'll try and rush up, but they are gonna avoid everything. Some great game sense out from DJ. Great positioning. While they can't get the bounty runes, at least they do avoid another team fight.
Radiant's courier.
Yeah, and they're
has
drawing
been
lines now from Fnatic. Looks like they want to make a move of their own. They've got the smoke out. So this is when they show that pipe. This is when they show these pickups they've saved up for.
But are we smoking towards the enemy? They're going into the dire side triangle, but I think it's fairly obvious nobody's going to be there from New Esports, as you just saw them run towards that top lane. Perhaps hoping to catch out DDZ or Yamate in that triangle by themselves, but they are not there. They are sticking as a team for now, so Fnatic, they might think about the Roshan play. Raven's going to come in, so will Moon, and they're going to get started. This is not going to be the easiest Roshan, and it is going to be fairly dangerous, as I believe New Esports should be well aware this is going to be happening.
Oh yeah, they had a ward spotting. There's the god.
That's a lot
Thunder
of
God's
damage.
Wrath as well. Ooh, it's just gonna get worse. They're not amped up, and they might find stuff here.
Yeah, Ice, he's been ruptured up with the Veil out, and he's just definitely dead. He will bite back. They're going to take the team fight. They'll go after DDZ, but it's just Moon. DJ right behind him. They've got to be careful. It's just a lot of damage out from DDZ right now. Meanwhile, Yamate's still going. We'll go for the Infest on a creep. That was Yamate bursting about 3 to 4 people and just not dying. AU now going for the swamp, a great Sonic Wave out, but it's just not enough damage. DDZ is still alive thanks to that false promise, but now DJ jumps in and does kill off Mosen. There goes DDZ on Zeus. Yamate, he's just going to fight the whole team by himself, and it looks like they're going to pack off. They don't want to deal with him, so Yamate, he'll take DJ's life. Now Moon jumps back in, but Barry gets a scream off. Gale out on Yamate, he slowed him down, but this Bloodseeker is going to run fast. There's your buyback from DDZ, throwing the Nimbus down onto Moon. Now after Raven, the Yules is going to be there in time, so Yamate should be able to get this Shroud Ranger, and they are. Oh, another disastrous fight for Fnatic. That is not what they wanted.
Oh, definitely not. The stalling tactics from New Esports just works out excellently. Like, even if you lost your Zeus, even if you lost your Oracle, it bought enough time to get that damage flying out. The pipe from Ice, it's not mattering too much. Their positioning isn't able to maximize that shield. And Fnatic, they find themselves at the 12k disadvantage. So the fight's not working out. They only found a couple of kills. They forced a buyback from the Zeus, which is great. But that Roche they were gunning for earlier, they're not in the position to contest it anytime soon. They've got that SNY in Raven. They forced that fight without it. They've got it now in their Drow. I don't think that's enough. It's definitely not enough. You need a lot more. They need that BKB on Moon. That's the big one. So you have at least one core who won't get controlled up, who won't get bursted down. But before that point, like, if you're just depending on the pipe, it's not enough from Ice.
Oh, DJ. Can he get the blink off? He can. And that last Roshan fight did just seem very, very desperate from this Radiant side. They'll leave it for now and just go back to farming, as they do need to start working towards that Hurricane Pike and BKB on Raven now. Gonna have to really have those defensive items up, as Yamate is getting close to an Abyssal Blade. And once that Abyssal's up, Raven won't really be able to run away too easily, until at the very least he has the 4-star. Which, in all honesty, it looks like Yamate is going to have that Abyssal before he does even have the 4-star up. And speaking of Yamate, John, he's pretending to be a range creep right now. Ice hasn't noticed, so now Yamate just going to jump in with the open wounds. He'll go for the TP, but he does get batched up by Yamate. Oh, I love the cheeky play out from this lifestealer. And of all people, yeah, Ice, you've got to tip him. That's an Ice play if I've ever seen one.
Oh yeah, New Esports, man, they're just surprising us. Like, again, we haven't seen Lance and DDZ too much in this tier, but they're showing up today. Fantastic play so far. 13k lead. They just have control. Like, they might not be progressing in objectives, they are going for that tier 1 mid. So this is an important one. If they can fully commit to this, take it out, it gives them a clearer path towards Roche, a clearer path towards taking control in the jungle, the Radiant jungle, which we haven't seen them really plant wards in. So that will open up the map for more aggression from the esports side.
It definitely will. What else is going to open up more aggression, John? This Roshan play. Yamate gonna go straight for that Aegis now. He's just about less than 1k gold away from having that full Abyssal Blade up, and in fact, they're gonna leave the Roshan, go back for the Bounty Rune, and perhaps go back for the Roshan. Yamate, do you want to bomb?
Oh no. It's the same story. You know, last time we missed the kill on Moon, he was split pushing bot lane. DDZ was around. His damage is just insane. They find all the bounty runes. They're gonna find Roche. Fnatic, they're just bleeding out hero by hero here.
Problematic. That Roshan is still happening. Yamate just getting it done by himself. Candy Luna will jump in and try to help out. There's only escalating here for Neon East, or excuse me, not Neon, New Esports. Neon will be on later on. Oh, AU gonna try for the swap, but no, he will not be able to get it. Yamate does get the Aegis, and now AU gonna go down. DDZ once again able to find another kill on the Zeus, and he's just been doing a fantastic job.
And it's all just bad news for Fnatic. Excellent news for New Esports. You know, the Abyssal that you talked about, it's up. It's there. So no matter what you have here from Raven, from even Moon, you're not going to stop a Abyssal lifesteal. He's just going to run up. He's got 2 lives now as well. 16k lead on New Esports up against Fnatic. And we talked about, you know, the roster shakeups maybe playing a factor here. It feels like Fnatic got caught a bit off guard, right? They've got the comfort picks of Veno, they've got the Brow, they've got Moon's Quap. These are heroes they all excel at, and it's just not showing up. I think New Esports, they throw a left fielder here, right? Bloodseeker Zeus. I mean, it's working out fantastically, and I mean, we haven't even seen the combo with Blood Rage. I want to see it. I want to see them give DDZ the Blood Rage, have him nuke someone from long range. Just do it.
Oh, Barry, he's got an infested lifesteal right now. So Barry's gonna be the initiation here for New. He's got a blink dagger, John. He could theoretically just blink in if that's what he wants to do. Barry, are you gonna do it? We saw Yamate with the range creep play before. This is a little bit different, but
tower is under attack.
I guess it's similar. And yeah, he'll just blink in. Oh, all right, AU gonna go down.
Dire's bottom tower is under
just
attack.
not much they could do about it.
Oh, I love this from New Esports. Like,
Radiant's middle
their
tower
playstyle
is
right now,
under
it's like a
Radiant
well-coordinated
structures
pub,
are fortified.
right? Like, it's just really
Dire's
pub-made
bottom
heroes
tower is
run at
under
you,
attack.
force these fights out.
Radiant's
It's like
top tower
your
is
core
under
yelling
attack.
at you to let your life stealer in, you know, and just running around. It's working out. Like, right now, Fnatic, though, they're trying to split push the bot lane again. You've got DJ clearing that wave out,
Dire's
but you can see the
bottom
clump up
tower
from
is
New
under
Esports.
attack.
They're just applying pressure on the opposite side. There's no room for Fnatic to farm safely, although Monson melts.
Radiant's middle tower
He
is
does.
under attack.
Luckily for him, he can heal himself up, so he'll be just fine. They are still taking that middle tier 2 tower. Yamate just happy to be able to auto attack it down, and would you believe it, John? Yamate now has a paladin sword to take. Oh, look,
Of course.
look at that. Who would have guessed that was going to happen?
As is tradition, now we just need to wait for Fnatic to pick up a repair kit. Then we'd be set, right? That's exactly what we want as casters to see every single time. And that is going to
I'll
happen.
take it too far, John. It's not, no repair kits, please. We have 8 games today, John. I don't think we can afford to have repair kits in the game.
Oh, it's still... The BKB is up for Moon, so that's Fnatic's cue to smoke up. This is their first smoke in a while. It has to be successful.
Barry's infested again, John. He's going to blink in with the lift up, and that is Ice gone. DDZ, the one to take the kill there with the Nimbus. Now, bot lane, who have they got there? It is going to be the Oracle. So 1-for-1 trade, but that is still your POS 3 for a POS 5. Still definitely a positive trade out for New, but well, you just see how much more valuable the position 5 was on New Esports. They gave about 500 gold away to Fnatic.
Tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
and at this point, again, you take what you can get if you're Fnatic. You do lose a tier 2 for that effort, though. Top tier 2 gone, mid tier 2 was already gone a while ago, so 1 outer tower left for Fnatic.
Radiant's top tower
The map
under
is
attack.
starting to shrink, and this is the lineup we expected to force these towers out earlier. So not a good look. Fnatic gonna have to try to find a way back in again. They've still
Dire's
got Moon's
bottom
fresh
tower
BKB.
is
They
under
gotta make
attack.
use of it.
Dire are scanning.
Barry's been infested. Take the outpost. Be Candy Loon taking care of that one. Barry, meanwhile, going through to that mid lane, getting the lift off. That is a very
Radiant's
upsetting
top
kind
tower
of bait.
is under attack.
Fnatic, they're still through that mid lane, but they're not going to find anyone.
No, and
Radiant's
it gets
top
difficult
tower
now.
is under
That's a
attack.
die back on Ice Ice Ice. He's gone for a full minute. And you can see New Esports, they're just pressuring these lanes in. They don't have a roach to take. They don't have anything else to do. So they're just going to shut this
Radiant's
map
top
down.
tower is
And
under
Fnatic,
attack.
they're not finding that space to farm. They're going to have to defend these tier 3s as the siege does begin once more.
Yeah, they definitely are going to have to defend. That tier 3 tower not going to last very long at this rate. DJ looking for another attempt to get a toss back. Rupture is going to be thrown out onto Moon, but he'll just blink away. Thunder God's Wrath now out. They are trying for Barry on the Rubik, but he'll be fine as AU going to be chased down and does end up going down.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
Back towards that Rax. They just can't be stopped at the moment. It's a 3v5 situation. Gus will do nothing as Yamate does just press the rage button, and they'll leave with the Rax advantage.
Has fallen.
Yeah, just like that. Very clean for New Esports. Fnatic now. Okay, behind 6-29. 32 minutes in. There's the Dagon's flying out from her Bloodseeker. You know what that means. Seeker's got Dagon. It's going excellently here. They've got the advantage. They know it. And Fnatic...
He gets a quickening charm as well, by the way.
Perfect. Absolutely
Candy
perfect.
Loon. In case his cooldowns weren't short enough already, get him a quickening charm. Help him out a bit.
Oh boy. This is gonna be tough for Fnatic. Like, man, I've been talking about Moon's BKB. Mike, can you take a look for me? Tell me how many seconds is left in that BKB. How many seconds on Moon's BKB? I see 10.
Oh, don't do Moon like that, John. Don't. The 10-second BKB. It's always a classic, right? When you see the 10-second charge. It's always a little bit upsetting to see, but in all fairness to Moon, John, I can't say that Fnatic has had a good enough team fight where it looked like he could actually use it.
Yeah, it's been 1 by 1. That's the major issue for Fnatic. But I don't really think that's Fnatic playing bad. I think New is just playing so well. Like, they find us a kill once more in DJ. It's just, they're all over the map.
I've never had to follow a Rubik, of all things, throughout this whole game, but there we have it. I mean, I'm just going to keep my eyes on Barry this whole time, apparently. As Yamate continues to just choose him for the Infest target. You still seem to know Moon is around that bot lane. They're just waiting for him to show his face. Yamate will be the first one to show up, and Moon, of course, would. Oh, Thunder God's Wrath comes out. They're looking for a lift. Barry. Nimbus perfectly positioned as well. They have vision. Moon. He has no TP left. I believe he just uses it. So BKB up.
No.
Barry does take the blink away now. He's just going to wait as Moon does have a DD rune, but Barry going to blink forward. Now DDZ. Where are they going? He went north, Moon. But they know Barry is still on the chase. Still, Moon will blink away further north. And I believe they are aware.
Oh my god!
Again, perfect. Moon has no TP to play with, so he is just trying to waste the time of New Esports. He'll blink north again, but Barry blinking right on top of him. Won't realize where he is, but now they will. Moon, he blinks into the Thunderstrike. Oh no!
What was that? Like, Moon, a valiant chase, but the game senses from you, man. DDZ. This guy's a radar system. He's just finding them in the jungle, in the fog. Good God. Like, Fnatic, they're buying time. I mean, they're buying time. But look at this game.
Gonna run into DJ with the Blood Riot out. DJ really has no chance of survival here. Does go down. They also get AU. Right. And you know, John, most people, when they saw New Esports, you know, in the team lineup, they would have thought this is one of the underdogs of the tournament, and I would have agreed with you. But they are looking absolutely fantastic, John. It's a 31k net worth lead.
It's an insane lead. It's 6-33 as well. Like, I have not seen a game like this in a long time, and I have never seen a game like this from Fnatic in a very long time. The Roche is being taken now by New Esports. They've got the leveled up Bagons. They've got the refresh on DDZ. There's the cheese and Aegis on top of it. Fnatic, I don't know what the answer is. The problem is New Esports, and I don't know what answers Fnatic has. It has to be pixel perfect play from the side of Fnatic, and it's just so difficult to overcome this kind of gap.
On the brighter side, by the way, John, Moon has now got a 9-second BKB charge. So just to make you a little bit happier, because I know it was triggering you just a little bit.
That was the use in the jungle, you know, in the tree line.
I wasn't going to point that part out, John. Picked up from Barry. He's going to be out onto high size, and he just melts.
It's scary when you can't even stay in that ridge line on your high ground. And vaulting's...
She's sending the courier. Just something needs to get in there. Someone needs to defend the tier 3 tower. Heroes can't do it. Send the donkeys in. We'll get it done.
You know, New Esports...
Again, Barry, Moon, he's melting. Swap out from AU, but he's going to lose his own life.
It's just being dismantled.
There you go.
And they called.
Yep, GG's called. That'll be game 1.
6-35, 34k lead. The New Esports with a very spectacular showing in game 1. Fnatic, a bit I can't say a bit. That is a very rocky performance. They had a solid draft. Is it down to the new team composition? Is it down to not...
out of charges.
5 seconds remaining. Fnatic's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Are here for game number 2 between New Esports and Fnatic. Well, P Dota and John X5, John, welcome back, sir. We just went past game number 1 between these two, and surprisingly enough, New Esports looking really, really good in that game 1. But I'm going to ask you the tough questions already, sir. What's Fnatic need to do differently?
They've got to shake it up. I think a part of that issue was down to execution. Like, they had a lineup that teams know how to play up against now. They had the Venomancer, they had the Drow, they had Moon's Quap, they had DJ's Tiny, and we saw a lot of these heroes come in and out, right? Especially from ESL 1 Thailand. I think Fnatic needs to be a bit careful running the same tried draft up against New Esports. This is a team that it has faded out of this level of play for a while, but they're showing up. They're running drafts that cause a lot of issues. Their Lifestealer Bloodseeker Zeus combination paid off massively, and I love that Fnatic's banned out the Lifestealer, because that was a big part of it, was that they couldn't really stop the farm coming out from Yamate. So they take out that issue now. We'll see how else it develops. If New Esports gets the same timings and gets the same playstyle, Fnatic might be up for a repeat of game 1.
They could be. Still, Fnatic is the team that are going to make the first pick in this draft. And already they're going to have a bit of a think about this one. Of course, last game we did see them go into a very early Venomancer pick, which has been the general idea in the current meta, is if you can pick Venomancer, you take Venomancer. They have the option for that hero again by Ice, but I'll be honest, John, I don't know if Ice wants to play it again. It was one of those games where he couldn't do anything as that hero. It's just, if you don't have a good start, if you don't win the lane, you don't really take off on the Veno. Fnatic, no, they're going to start with the IO instead. I wonder where this is going to lead us.
Yeah, I think I am worried about seeing something like the IO Gyro. I think that still has potency. If you're going for that duo, I just don't like it. You know, I mean, we make clear our feelings towards that combination. It's been in and out for multiple patches. It has a place, but I don't think this is the game to bring it out. I think you have to find a way to make this IO work. Maybe consider it a pause 1 IO again with the aggression that brings. Different sort of lineup around it. I love the response from New Esports off the bat though. Ancient Apparition. So the sustain the IO is going to bring you've already got a natural counter beyond just Spirit Vessels coming in. That ult is going to cause issues.
They'll go for the clock second pick here for Fnatic, and it's going to be a question of whether they run that as a position 3 or 4 clockwork, but I'm going to assume for now that it will just be the 4. If it was, though, then you'd be running the pos 5 IO, which isn't too, unusual or anything. It's just maybe you want to try and prioritize a bit of that IO farm this game. Guess we're going to wait and see. I mean, in all fairness, you are up against the Ancient Apparition, which might just cancel out anything you can do as the IO in this game, in a team fight in terms of healing anyway. New Esports, they take the Void, John. It was available.
It's a straightforward combo, and we've seen a lot of Void play. We've seen from China the pos 5 Void. I don't know if New Esports wants that. There's no real need for it here, but you can't kind of make it work.
10 seconds.
You've still got this AA Void combo. So you get the Chrono off, you line the Ice Blast, you're good as gravy. It's just going to set itself up. You're going to find those kills. Fnatic do ban out the Invoker, so they don't have to deal with a combination with a Void. I worry about a Zeus coming out again. It's not the best because it's got you out this time, but in combination with a Faceless Void and the AA, you start to build a really good global strat with the Zeus in here.
They sure could. I wonder if DDZ wants to go back to that. Like, I mean, not DDZ, but rather
5
Fnatic, but
seconds
even
remaining.
DDZ, if we bring up that Zeus, I mean, there's kind of a double global strat going on here if you really think about it from these two teams. Either team could run the Zeus and make it work very, very nicely. I think if you're Fnatic right now, you don't necessarily want to give DDZ the Zeus again. He was doing a really darn good job, farming very quickly, not really bending to the QoP in that mid lane, and
Team ban.
of course up against the Zeus, up against the Wisp, you're gonna have a great old time. Maybe not so much the
Turn
clock
to
work,
ban.
because can just hook shot in and battery assault the Zeus to death, but might not really be an issue as long as you don't get caught in vision. I guess we'll see. New esports. Well, my camera stopped working. That's weird. Yeah.
10
I guess
seconds
I'll
remaining.
just try and fix that. Well,
5 seconds remaining.
there is the option.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what does get banned out from Fnatic. I'd say Zeus is still solid, even if with that clock to counteract it. I don't think you want. New esports for their part, I mean, their bans are a bit more straightforward. The Beastmaster to ensure their Faces Void has a solid time. You worry about maybe Avenge coming out. I think that's another hero. The Void doesn't, it kind of struggles to maximize the chrono with if there's a Avenge in the pool. So that might be what new esports, although there's not really a room for Avenge on Fnatic's draft, so maybe they just let it slide through. Still, Fnatic, they take out the Magnus, so it looks like they're expecting a wombo combo playstyle from new esports. We've seen the Magnus Faces Void a couple of times. It has been rather effective. You are beholden to sort of cooldowns with that kind of combo, but you know, natural empower is always nice to have, so you can't fault Fnatic for ban out. You see new esports, they take out the Sven. Sven IO is great. You don't have that option. Fnatic's gonna have to look elsewhere for their IO combination. Whether or not they're gonna go all in on that, again, it's still kind of open. They could still go with the gyro if they wanted to, but we've seen gyrocopter into Void. And it hasn't really ended up well. The IO gyro up against Faces Void. Options are limited.
Comes a tiny now for new esports, so great initiation, great team fight. Of course, we know you can toss back into the chrono, which is always going to be nice and handy. The tiny overall has been very, very popular
10
as of late.
remaining.
Especially going into that IO now, right? Because you could just burst the Wisp down with
5
Avalanche
seconds
Toss.
remaining.
It's not really too difficult, and even if you
Radiant
can't
team
burst her
pick.
down,
Venom.
you could just toss her away and break the tether. There's the Venomance though from Fnatic now. I don't know how to feel about it, John.
I get the mindset of it. You're laning against a Faces Void. It's harder for him to maximize his time walk up against a
10
Venomancer.
seconds remaining.
I don't know how I feel about it fully. I don't think it's bad.
5 seconds
It was an
remaining.
issue in game one. It's just better time here. In terms of laning against a Faces Void, we'll see how much Ice brings out. Really depends on what else they pick up, because the Veno can only do so much. So there's a lot of pressure now on your pause 1 to play around with the IO, to set up, to follow up on your Venomancer's movements in, to get the global strat running, to keep running down when you have relocate. That does mean Fnatic has to play a bit faster. You mentioned the counter actions of new esports with a tiny, tossing back to the Void, breaking the tether. They've got some answer to that. To be something that shows up here from Fnatic with the IO to make it work out. New esports, their draft is really open. You've got the Void, you've got tiny AA, they all combine in one way or another. They have room for their offlane to kind of interact with that, and a lot of room for their mid lane play into that. Like, I wouldn't fault them for going back to Bloodseeker. Honestly, it just works out well with that. They go with Nature's Prophet instead. So they are finding a way to really keep that same movement up. They've got a way of following the IO around. They've got a way of split pushing with the NP, and a way of counteracting the Venomancer push. I love the response from new esports. It's very straightforward,
10
but it does work out in their draft.
We haven't seen too much profit as of late, but I do agree it just kind of fits in with the draft of new esports right now. And Fnatic, they're going to go back to a Raven special. They're going to bring out the Terrorblade now, so a hero that doesn't really mind the Faces Void too much. Now, mind you, if you are caught in that chrono, it is going to hurt, especially with that time lock damage. It does count as
10
magic.
seconds remaining.
So he's not going to care for your armor on that Terrorblade.
5
But as
seconds
long as he's
remaining.
not caught in the chrono, Or, alternatively, as long as AU's outside of the chrono to relocate him out,
Radiant team.
Raven should be just fine.
Oh yeah, it should on paper kind of work out that way. It's going to be interesting to see how far Fnatic can push that.
Fnatic
It's a Raven
turn
special,
to
like you
ban.
mentioned. It's just, there are some key timings with the Terrorblade. Metamorphosis is your limiting factor. Now you've got to play with Metamorphosis and Relocate if you're wanting to play aggressive here. It's not the most natural IO combo, although it does work out. Of Overcharge, a lot
10
more attack speed,
seconds remaining.
so they can melt towers. They can actually do tons of damage from Fnatic's end.
5
This is still a
seconds
TB
remaining.
into an AA as well. You have to consider that fact. There's a lot going against it, but it does have a lot working for it as well. So it's a double-sided sword for Fnatic. Sting on that mid pickup. Fnatic, they took out the Zeus. Too much magic
team
damage to
back.
deal with, keeping themselves safe. Quap's gone as well.
Fnatic's turn to pick.
Or it's take out the Pango, which is some way of keeping the Void in check with the disarms.
Radiant
They've got a lot of room though. A lot of Spirit Brothers still in play.
They bring out the Ember. It's an interesting pick, right? Like, Moon obviously plays a very, very good Ember. We've seen it before. He does set a very nice tempo. This hero has felt a little bit lackluster as of late.
10
I'm not gonna lie,
seconds
John.
remaining.
It's maybe received a too few many nerfs now, and
5
it's
seconds
not
remaining.
really what it used to be. It's going to be very important for Fnatic to be able to set a tempo, can just farm all game and get to that point where he is just a powerhouse. If you can't do that, they might just fall apart again. You esports now, seeing that Ember Spirit, just need to ensure that they can win that mid lane. If you wanted to run the Prophet mid, you could. He'd probably have a great old time. Alternatively though, if you threw him into the off lane, you still have another pick for new esports to make. Really, again, just something that dominates the Ember mid.
Have a lot of options. Any of the Spirit Brothers remaining for mid are great. Void Spirit and Storm are great here. You don't have the best control from Fnatic. I mean, what stuns do they actually have? They have Clockwork Battery Assault. And that is it. Cogs to break a TP. But anything slippery like that can just dance around here. Sports can just make...
Choose your
Bring
hero.
up. You said Spirit Brothers and you never brought up the Earth Spirit. I was very... Thank you to New East.
Oh,
John, how wrong he was for ignoring this beautiful hero. There it is, John.
DDZ.
It'll be the
Oh,
Earth
God.
Spirit coming out for DDZ. That'll be your core mid-Earth Spirit, John. One of my personal favorites.
yeah.
It should be a very fun matchup now. Very explosive here from New Esports, as with the core Earth Spirit, you generally don't like having a lot of downtime. But I do love the pickup.
I mean, I agree. It looks beautiful here. It ties well with the damage timings you've got. The power curves New Esports has are
10
fantastic.
seconds remaining.
I did say a Spirit Brother for mid, Mike. You know, I never mentioned
5
Earth Spirit, but I
seconds
left it open. I covered my bases and did bring
you
it out.
No, you didn't. You said
I said
Storm
Spirit
and Void
Brothers.
Spirit.
Yeah, I didn't.
You said
say
Storm
the
and
Earth
Void Spirit.
Yeah, I didn't say the Earth Spirit. You caught me in that, but I left it open there. Still, you know, technicalities aside, Earth Spirit for DDZ down mid. So it's an interesting proposition. It's not quite as unstoppable as Storm or a Void when you're jumping in and out, but it gives them that fast gameplay. You've got the NP to jump in to back you up. New Esports has to play this one fast. Don't want to stall out. There's a weird mid-game spike where Fnatic theoretically is better, and then it evens out as the Void Chronosphere starts to become the game-setting skill. You know, down late game, Chrono is the spell to watch out for. But mid-game, there's a point where the Terrorblade can get scary, so there's some really interesting power spikes that play against these two teams. I just want to see what Fnatic does different. Still got the Ice Veno. Gonna have to play out of his mind, that hero. Pressure Yamate a lot more. AO on the IO, which is gonna be really hard to say back to back. Has to ensure that Raven lives and has to maximize those early relocate ganks.
just a matter of whether you can, though, because, I mean, new esports with their draft, I believe, can just fight so much earlier. I mean, you could make the argument that Fnatic should have little issue fighting back, but I don't know. So we'll wait and see how this all pans out. Is game number 2 between these two. Of course, new esports would love to get their debut going throughout the tournament with the 2-0 up against Fnatic. Now, certainly on track to do so. And Fnatic, of course, John, don't want to just leave with a 2-0 loss. They at least want to get a draw out of this one. And, go back to the drawing board after that, figure out what went wrong in game 1. To see if they can control this Radiant side now. Especially DDZ on this Earth Spirit, because once these Earth Spirits get started in this mid lane, it is very hard to slow them down.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what timings he hits. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing Earth Spirit up against Ember, or at least if we have, I can't remember it anymore. So it could be interesting to see what he brings out. Moon, I'd say, should have a better time though overall compared to game 1. He should have a bit of a smoother start. It'll be down to, can your supports come out to help you secure your lane fully? You already see Ayo and DJ running around with the Tetra on, trying to find something, and this is one way he can get started. Ayo plus Clock, you get 372 move speed when the Tetra is up, so you can run anyone down to battery assault. That's an easy first blood if they can find a target.
The battle
Ayo gonna run into Yamate, will take a bit of a hit, takes another one. The banner away from Yamate at least, but it is still going to be a 2-for-2. Still DJ now going to come in and force the Time Walk to be leveled up. Yamate will cop a bit more harass out from DJ, but will be fine to just leave the building. Of course, AU will make his way up top to make sure Raven has a good landing stage on that TB. So just your standard dual lanes being run here from both sides. Well, it looks like it probably will be a relatively slow start for the first 5 to 10 minutes. As most of these heroes on the map do need levels.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. I mean, you can see, of course, Raven on the TV commits the first meta to get some last hits, get some farm on. Barry just slowing that down a bit. Once this mid is down, if you get level 2s at a good point for the NP and Tiny, you're going to have to be careful. You see an early pause. Look at Raven's HP. It's just down to half.
Yeah, 318 HP left on Raven. Great hero, John. So this Terrorblade. Fnatic, they do have a DC on Raven, so we'll just have to wait that one out. And of course, you did mention it was lunchtime for SEA right now, John, so Fnatic can quickly get a bite to eat. No, never mind. Raven does not want anyone eating any food. Back to playing.
Yeah, no messing around. He's gonna have to rely on the regen AU brings out here. They do have that early headdress, as you tell on the IOs, so this should be too big of an issue. But again, there's early level 2 timings to level 3 timings for this duo from new esports is the key. Once you get some ways of bursting down with Barry, you've got to be really cautious on the TB. You don't have the greatest HP pool. Of course, down mid, you've got that interesting matchup. It's the Earth Spirit up against the Ember. It does look like a bit of a better start for Moon. Both heroes at level 2, 6-1 on last hits. Pre-0 for DZ. So not the smoothest starts in terms of farm. See if you can make that work with, you know, some of his skill usages. He farm up for the most. Supports are going to be the key for that. And we already talked about the top supports down bot. You've got Mozen pressuring Ice once more. So our Venomancer with a Clockwork with DJ. And up against the Ancient Apparition and Faces Void. Now, there are ways to make this work. You get the cogs off on particularly the AA. You can melt them with the damage you've got here. It's just closing that gap is very difficult.
I've got to say, I love the way Mozen plays the lane for Yamate, right? Like, he really never allows Ice to get close, to get any decent harassment in. And that's very important when you're going up against the Venomancer in any laning stages. The support needs to be aggressive before the Veno can be. And Mozen has been doing a very, very good job of it. Now Gale to fly out, but the cold feed is going to be out onto Ice, and he just can't commit to trying to chase down Yamate.
Yeah, and because of that, Yamate is not forced to pop the Time Walk. We talked about the Veno being good in that sense, because the DOT makes it tricky to commit. Yamate's not having an issue, and they get to jump onto DJ immediately. Don't get any lucky dash, but it's been a struggle splitting the EXP. Like the Clockwork and Veno, they need a lot of EXP, both of these heroes, to get started, and they're just sharing a lane. They're just soaking off of each other. It's going to snowball hard.
I mean, you've got the choice of going mid here for DJ, just trying to roam around and trying to take down the Earth Spirit mid with Moon. But the problem is with the Clockwork is you can't really hold DDZ down because he's going to be able to kick you away and just roll away back towards his tier 1 tower. So he's really got no options but to stay in that bottom lane right now, which is like you just mentioned, a bit detrimental because Ice needs the levels. So he's trying to stay out of XP range now, DJ, but it's not really helping him. Ice is just still copping way too much harassment out from Mosin.
Courier has been killed.
Yeah, it's a difficult time, and this is when Fnatic's draft is sort of at its weakest. Laning phase just isn't that amazing, and you can see Yamate's not scared to commit the early time walks, get some harassment off, looking for the lucky bashes. It doesn't fly out, but that spacing right now down bot isn't the best for Fnatic. The great thing is Yamate's farm is not so good. It's at 13-2. Slightly behind Raven up top, and Ice is finding more creeps. You do have that to play with. Whether or not that stays, though, as this lane progresses is a different story.
Speaking of behind, pretty much all of new esports are behind in this laning phase in terms of CS, John. DDZ falling 10 CS behind Moon right now on the Ember. We'll get lucky with the power rune up top, and they are just going to give that away to Barry. Even at that top lane, you're not really having the greatest time right now for Candylune, who is behind Raven, just by one last hit. And sadly for new esports, that's their best lane right now, is this Nature's Prophet lane. Barry going to come in with an avalanche toss. AU going to be the first blood. Candylune able to take it on the Prophet. And I was just saying he was slightly behind Raven, but with that added gold, I highly doubt he is any longer.
And that's what you want to see. It's that level timing from new esports. They had level 2 in Barry there. He hits level 3 now. They've got burst damage. That is not something IO and the Terrorblade deal with well. That early high burst you can expect from this duo.
Mosin, bot lane, does get caught out there by DJ, and Ice did have the follow-up damage. So, nice little even trade on those position 5s. Of course, new esports able to at least get the first blood gold for themselves.
Dire's middle tower.
And they'll go back for the 5-minute bounty runes, which do end up being a 2-for-2 trade. There is one still left on the Radiant side of things. Top lane, they could go for a bit of a play here, new esports, but DDZ not really willing to leave the lane yet. He is only level 5. Looks like he's just going to return mid and try to get his own level 6 now up against Moon, who did just hit level 6 on the Ember.
Yeah, they've got some beautiful vision here as well from Fnatic's end to watch rotations. Barry does intercept AU. Have any of that movement out to camp the 6-minute runes, which does make it difficult for both sides. Those runes are very important for the Ember and the Earth Spirit.
Mosin again, bot lane, gonna end up dying on the AA, and looks like Ice and DJ now able to comfortably pick off this Ancient Apparition with the Clockwork, though top lane, Barry able to kill off Raven. DDZ joining in on the top lane, doesn't even bother committing the Magnetize. He didn't need it.
That's a bigger kill going the way of new esports. Like, they managed to trade away a support for a core. A bit surprised to see Yamate ditch the Veno lane early. I guess he just realized it would be a hard lane to keep up. More action.
He tried to get the tether off to the creep wave, but the avalanche was going from Barry, so he just cancelled the tether immediately.
Tower is under attack.
I guess he had no other option, but it's going to be a bit hard here for AU on that IO, and well, with that now, of course, they're going to commit towards that tier 1 top tower. And with Candylune there, with the Nature's Treants, it's not going to be a very hard one to take.
No, it's going to be a relatively quick one. You can see Fnatic clump up bot, trying to get that same action done with Ice. To counter push, they're going to try to trade. You do see new esports take that first. It's going to have that situation where Fnatic TPs in for defense. There's no defense to be had. Gonna go for the straight trade. They're still waiting as well. Got heroes hanging around. Moon's down here for the party. It's only Mods and they can really catch out here.
This is a very dangerous predicament here for new esports. They are TPing more heroes in. They want to try and take this team fight. DDZ now going to show himself TPing. They'll go after Moon. They have the silence. They do catch out Moon, but he has the tether there from AU. Does get the sleight of fist off and just walks away. Now DJ with the battery assault onto Mosin. Barry also burning to the flame guard of Moon. And perhaps new esports not expecting pretty much the whole side of Fnatic to be down at that bot lane. they do get punished for this rotation.
That's really good punishment from Fnatic. They take the tower on top of it, find 2 supports for the trouble. That is one way to kind of bounce back here. Moon definitely needing those kills, and that does help them have a little bit more. Did need to counteract that slower start. You can see Ice in a very different game, although DDZ.
Yeah, Magnetize going to be committed. They'll go for the TP play. DDZ will not have the roll up. It is still only a level 1 roll, so you can opt to just TP out as soon as he commits it. And it will not be up in time to get a secondary one off to cancel the TP.
It's a bit of a shame, but that's one of the issues here for new esports draft as well. Their control is a bit mixed. They have been sitting on certain spells for a while, although Moon finds Mosin.
He does. Mosin going to go down very easily, and Moon is really starting to snowball out of control here on this Ember Spirit. Looking to start setting up into that mid lane a little bit, but Barry is going to be there to defend. But this is problematic. If you're new esports now, you do not want to allow Moon to have a good game on this Ember Spirit.
No, definitely not. He's off a fantastic start. DDZ for his part on the Earth Spirit, you need to snowball hard in that hero. And he's not quite up there. He's definitely lagging in terms of impact as well. The rotations haven't really paid off. He needs that earn into Spirit Vessel ASAP. Once you have that, you kind of correct some issues here. You also need your supports at 6, particularly Mosin. You need the Ice Blast in this game. That's the entire point of this AAA, so they need to find some way to get the Ancient Apparition up to par. One good thing here for new esports is that Yamate has been relatively uncontested. His farm is kind of lacking for that, but he hasn't really been scouted out. They've been sitting on that chrono for a while, though. You have to wonder, when do you want to commit that big teamfight spell?
DDZ bot lane is currently being watched by DJ. DJ was pinging out, asking for a rotation. Looks like Moon is going to oblige. They might just get started over this 10-minute bounty rune.
Radiant.
Back the rest of Fnatic are slowly. Raven, he has the meta up. So it's perfect timing for him to fight, and Moon does start off with the chains onto Barry, but they want DDZ. Remnants forward, but the roll was already there from DDZ. Still Moon gonna try for the chase. Avalanche gonna slow things down on Fnatic. They will not be able to keep up, so they'll go back for the bounty runes. The new esports gonna be thanking their lucky stars they did not lose that mid ES again.
Yeah, I mean, neither side dies out. I think you're still going to be happy if you're Fnatic. You're forcing these movements out. New esports aren't really farming as efficiently. They've caught up a bit on Candy. You have Yamate a bit better, although they're not taking control of their jungle. They're not finding objectives, but
easy, good roll in. The Ice Blast going to connect on both of them, and Ice. He'll melt, and so will AU. And that's kind of the thing we talked about in the drafting phase. You first pick IO, you're going to get Ancient Apparition like that. Mosin with the perfect positioning with that Ice Blast.
Yeah, and the perfect timing on that level as well. We're talking about them needing the 6 on the AA. Comes out, it plays in a big way, and they just keep finding these little wins. It's even on the map, 5-5, less than 1k lead for Fnatic. But you've got this Mask of Madness now in Yamate. You've given face for the Void to find that farming tool.
Gets a hook off. Didn't see Candaloon, so he'll just settle for Mosin. Still Ice Blast gonna connect. Mosin's still alive. In fact, Moon gonna dive in after Candaloon, but they can't secure one kill here. Mosin now gonna get tethered on by AU, but a silence is out of Yamate looking for a chrono, and he does get it onto 2 heroes. Mosin is already down, but it may not matter. AU getting low does also die to DDZ, and Moon, he's in massive trouble. He'll get a remnant out. He'll be out of there, but Raven has been left behind. He gets the Sunder, but it may not matter. Yamate's dealing way too much damage, and DDZ going back after Moon, but he kicks him away. That's not what he wanted. But Moon is still being chased. Ice. All's gonna die to Yamate. Meanwhile, Barry still chasing the Ember Spirit. Won't be able to get him. But it's a great team fight out for new esports.
Radiant's middle tower.
Oh man, they just play it perfectly. Like, it looked bad at the start. They got the jump in. With new esports, the first chrono from Yamate, that was 12 minutes in. First chrono pays off in a massive way to build up for themselves, and what looked like a slower start, it's starting to ramp up, Mike. 9-6 now, 1k lead for New Esports. You have Candy Loon way above everyone else in terms of farm. He's got an Orchid up. He's got ways of controlling these heroes from Fnatic, and they've got to be careful here.
Sean's going to be out onto Mosin, but he has help around. DDZ going to get the Boulder Slash and Silence, but they aren't going to commit to this team fight. That'll mean the mid-tier 1 tower will go down to Raven. So even with that bad team fight that just occurred for Fnatic, with the meta up, they feel confident to secure that mid-tier 1, and now with the rest of the meta, they want to try and go for a kill attempt. The only person they are seeing is Barry on the Tiny. He is already within safety of his tier 2 tower, so it looks like they will just commit to farming up.
And that's one of the downsides here for New Esports Draft. They play around Chrono on their end. If you see Moon making a move here, but Candy's around.
Be careful, Raven. As AU, they're going to roll in. Ice Blast to fly through. Raven, he's falling low in the Ice Blast. Will connect onto both of them. AU also going to go down. As I said, John, you can't underestimate the magic damage that New Esports has right now. It's a power spike for them at the moment.
Oh, you definitely can't. They've got this blinking Tiny now. They lose 3 heroes in 2 different lanes. Like, Moon was the aggressor up top. He was the one jumping Yamate. He forgot that the NP was around and that the Orchid was up. You just have nothing to stop that. No ults on Moon. Means he has to be super careful about the targets he jumps. And New Esports, 2k up. Have Chrono in 10 seconds. They can force a team fight if they wanted to. Fnatic, I mean, you're still finding fantastic farm in Raven. Number 2 in net for it.
Well, staring down Moon, John. He had that Chrono in a second. He's not going to go for anything. He'll go back to farming. So, John, I would like to point out, surprisingly enough, DDZ does opt for the plus 50 damage at level 10. Rather than the rolling boulder distance, which is usually what you would pick up. Now, as the core Earth Spirit, it makes sense to go for the plus 50, especially considering he did go for the Treads build, so you have that added attack speed and stats. But I wonder what he builds after the Spirit Vessel to really go with that added damage. Because generally speaking, you might want to go into a Veil straight after, considering you're up against Terrorblade, but it doesn't seem like he's going to go for the Veil build.
It's pretty open in how you itemize around this. I think it really depends on how the game develops. They're gonna, I think they're gonna hold out for a bit more. Although Ice TP'd in.
Yeah, he TP'd in and got an avalanche straight away. DDZ did miss the roll and a relocate out. Well, at least they wasted the relocate. So you got something out of that if you knew esports, and now with that gone, you might just commit to this tier 1 mid tower.
Should be an easy committal. They've still got the Chrono as mentioned. They're looking for an opportunity to use that. Yamate does spot Moon, but doesn't opt for that play. A bit slippery.
DDZ has an arcane rune, John. It's every Earth Spirit's dream to have this rune up. That roll is now on a 2.8 second cooldown, which is, in my opinion, very balanced, by the way.
Yeah,
no bias here from me.
Absolutely balanced. Of course, you've got the foresight from Fnatic to just pull back. They're just playing around, farming with Raven. They're not really forcing anything aggressive. That's mainly been and Moon, which they've done a pretty decent job. Still waiting for looks to be a 4-staff on Ice. Once that's up, they've got a few more options to jump in, a few more options to bail themselves out as well. For their part, seem pretty content and kind of just split farming as well. They've got the Spirit Vessel up though on DDZ, perhaps looking to make use of that. They are pinging out the top lane for a bit of a shove-in.
Dire's top tower.
I think he can just afford to. Even with the pipe up now on Candy Loon, he can join them up at top, and he will. The TP going to come in from Moon, but they have the Orchid, and Candy is waiting. Now will show himself, and Moon should be just fine to make an exit here. Unless Barry gets the Blink Avalanche toss off. And he's thinking about it, but Moon is staying well and truly back. Just trying to buy time so his own team can push in the bottom tier 2 tower.
Is under attack.
Ice Blast is going to fly down to the bot lane. Raven. It's going to fly through him. So it does connect. He does take the damage, but instead of defending that tier 2, they are going after a Roshan play now, New Esports. But it seems that Moon is aware of this and is making his way down with a haste rune. In fact, no, they're defending top lane. Yamate Chrono, he is committed. They catch out Raven, and with that, they're going to burst him down, go after AU, and that IO's gone. A great bait play out of New Esports.
Oh man, what was that? Like, using the rocket flare against your enemy. They do catch out Mosin again though.
Nice block.
AA for that.
He is out of time, and Barry can clean up. It's a pulse 3 for a pulse 5 trade, and look at DDZ. Gets a boulder smash off into the silence, into the spirit vessel, and DJ has no chance of survival. And it's a 4-for-1 trade and a Roshan on top of it.
I love it. Like New Esports, the movements are perfect. They get spotted by the flare, they go for the TP defense after the flare fades to bait them into thinking they're still in Roche. They come in, and then they walk their way back top to the pit. Like, this is just perfect cyclical play from New Esports. The timing is on point. Fnatic, 16-8. It's still looking better than game 1. It's a 3K lead for New Esports. They have got to watch out, because the moment this team gets momentum, they run away with it, New Esports.
They're really, really playing well. You don't see that very often either. The Roshan into a quick defense team fight. But it really was just a really, really nice play here. With that, another 4K net worth lead for Fnatic, looking to just try and defend this mid-tier 1 again. And of course, we saw in game 1, that was really the downfall for Fnatic. Once they lost that mid-tier 1 tower, their whole map was suddenly not really theirs anymore and was owned by New Esports. So we'll see if they can manage to take that one down. I mean, we're almost 19 minutes into the game without it going down. But once it is gone, Raven is going to be missing a lot of farming space.
Yeah, it gets trickier to split that farm with an Ember and a Terrorblade and a Venomancer. Like, one of these heroes have to give. You saw what happens when the Venomancer falls behind. You don't want to see what happens when the TV and Ember.
Dire structures are
It's gonna be tricky. You see Esports, they're committing up top again. They forced the Fortify out. Fnatic just trying to take over that bot jungle. They might be able to catch out Barry for their troubles, but they're gonna lose a tier 2 if they commit that hard.
There's that tier 2 top gone. Barry gonna chill out and wait for someone to dive in after this tier 2 bot tower. They do have Chrono up in 10 seconds, so this is actually perfectly timed by New Esports if that push attempt does come out. With an Aegis, of course, on Yamate, so he's not worried about his own life. They are going to slowly try here. Raven does show himself for a second.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
In fact, never mind. Gale is there out onto Barry. They aren't going to commit all the way, though. Ice just going to back off, back towards his team.
Is under attack.
And New Esports seem like they're not going to go for this defense attempt, but rather just let Fnatic take it.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Yeah, in the end, I suppose you could consider that a tier 2 for tier 2 trade. Does work out rather evenly. You do see some items flying out though. Kandaloon does have his Maelstrom, so that's additional magic damage flying out. Even more split push potential from our NP. That is something to be careful as they do finally make moves on mid, and Fnatic, they can't allow this one to fall. They send Ice to stave that off.
It's not just the Maelstrom, by the way, John. Yamate has the MKB coming out. With the Mask of Madness, that is going to be a lot of damage and a lot of attack speed. And again, he does have the Aegis Chrono, so New Esports are definitely looking for a big team fight. I don't think Fnatic have really what it takes right now to try and fight it out, unless they can keep Raven safe. I suppose Moon does have a double damage bottled up, so you do have a lot of added damage on this Ember. They might try for the defense, but they've got to be very, very wary about those new items. See what happens here is we do unpause. New Esports are actually the ones to retreat.
Yeah, I can't fault them for that. They're just playing it safe. They know the caliber of team that Fnatic is. There's a BKB now on Raven as well. So there's some moments here for Fnatic to reveal some of these pickups against it, but there's a smoke now from New Esports.
Question is who they're going to find. Moon, he'd be a great target, and can they get the Chrono? He does go for the Slight. Silence will not hit in time. Moon will just make his way out of there. Barry, still in that smoke. We'll try to use Yamate as bait for a nice avalanche toss start. AU going to be very, very cautious about getting picked off here on the IO as they do need him alive, and Fnatic do commit TPs, but Yamate again has that Chrono. There's the avalanche onto Ice. No Chrono yet, he'll hold out. The relocate already out from AU again. Now the hook shot in from DJ. Moon also there, but the Chrono not going to catch the Ember. They'll have to settle for the clockwork. Ice Blast not going to connect either, but they have made the jump back onto Ice. There's two gone for Fnatic. Now Raven won't be able to turn around and fight. He has to back off. They do actually eventually end up killing off Barry thanks to the DPS of the Venomancer, but it is still a 2-for-1.
Yeah, I'd say Fnatic should be happy with that, although Yamate?
He's getting chained up, dude. Gotta be careful. The bashes, oh my goodness. Oh, you gotta be a bit wary, even without the Chrono. He still has the Aegis.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a brave movement out, but still, Fnatic, I don't think they're too upset about that. Managed to force the Chrono out without losing their big heroes. You'll take that. Still want to find a better trade, but they're in a spot where they don't have to worry about Chrono for at least 2 minutes.
Oh, Raven.
Oh?
He's alone. Yamate could not get a lucky bash off, but look at the TPs coming in now. They are a bit too late. Looks like new esports, they know exactly where they are, so they'll go for a smoke.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Again, using Yamate as that frontliner, that kind of bait on the Void. He's running very deep in that T1, but Avalanche toss Barry has found out Raven with the Ice Blast to fly in. He did get the Sunder off in time, but it may not matter, or perhaps it will. He did pop his BKB as well. Meanwhile, Yamate kills off AU in the backlines. DJ getting rolled back on. Yamate just chasing down this clockwork, and it looks like DJ is certainly dead. In fact, Raven still being chased down here by DDZ. There'll be a buyback from DJ, but it will not matter. Raven already dead, and they're going for even more now. Ice showing his face will also die. It's just not great news for Fnatic.
Oh man, it's bad news all the way down. That was the BKB usage of Raven, his first charge not working out the way they want. This is all without Chrono, and Yamate is just nearly unstoppable now. He has no defensive items, Mike.
Oh, hey, he just bought back. He just bought back on the IO. Can he tether out in time? He can, but Yamate does have the time walk in a second. He will commit it. He will get the die back. And, well, mid lane, they're still going. DDZ getting attacked by Moon, but really taking no damage.
It's gonna be difficult for Fnatic. Like, the tools they just picked up aren't paying off. I love the build up here from DDZ. We were talking about what he might want to go for. He's got his Shiva's card flying in. So all that minus HP regen they've been playing around with, it's stacking up. The IO effect, even with Tether, if these items come into play, it's nothing. They don't have sustain on Fnatic's end, and that just means the IO is kind of a dead pickup.
It is a very, very rough time, and there's that Shiva's guard you talked about on DDZ. Gonna make things a lot harder.
Oh no.
Radiant's middle tower is under
I foresaw your death. Yeah, that's a yikes. Yamate commits the Chrono for an easy mid-ember kill, and it's well worth it for his cause. That's gonna actually allow him to pretty much be at the stage where he can buy out the BKB, and he does.
And the opportunities you have to catch Yamate now shrink. Oh my god.
Yeah, Ice getting caught out now by Candaloon and DDZ. They're just not safe, John. It literally happens straight after that mid-tier 1 goes down. They just start losing the whole map to this new esports side.
It's not holding up. Like, that timing's perfect. They're just not finding the openings. You look at how big Candaloon is. I didn't even realize. He's got his maelstrom up on top of everything else. And a BKB now as well.
DDZ. Oh, nice avalanche toss in from Barry. Raven being slowed up. DDZ gets the silence, but won't continue as the Glimmer Cape was there. That'll be your tier 2 mid tower going down. No, they'll commit the glyph. Yamate could afford to fight. He does have a 10-second BKB charge. He just doesn't have Chrono. But it looks like he wants to save that 10-second charge for the time where he does have Chrono, and that's fair enough. Does break the smoke of DJ as well. Yamate. Oops. You see how confident he is right now, John. He just time walks straight into him. He does not feel afraid that they have the burst damage to take him out.
You can just see how defensive Moon has to play. He remnants out, he has to Yules off the time dilation. It's not what you want to be doing. So far behind, playing so far behind, not setting the tempo as well. You can see it's just forcing Fnatic to play the slower game, and there's still opportunities there for Raven to outfarm. Like we've seen Terrorblades play from behind really well if they find those right opportunities, and they can make that happen. And well, you looked at that. There's a repair kit here for Fnatic. I wonder why. I wonder why, Mike.
Well, they need it, John. They're gonna need it. Looks like, just based on how this game is going right now. New Esports are waiting for the next Roshan, but that is going to be a bit of time still. Bot lane, there is a bit of a team fight breaking out. DDZ able to kill off DJ, and Yamate is still chasing down Ice. Trying to time walk. There's the TP in from Candyloon, and now the roll in from DDZ, and Ice once again just can't survive on that Venomancer. Another 2 kills for New Esports.
Fnatic, they're just not getting the effect they want with the Venom. Right? Like we talk about the Venom being so potent, it's not showing up the past 2 games. There's only so much Ice can do with it. And it's not trying to go through back.
Just use the Mask of Madness, Yamate.
No. Doesn't want to press the buttons, Mike. He doesn't need to, see? Takes out that mid tier 2. And Fnatic, and they're just trying to farm across the map. They're waiting for Raven to get scary. I don't know if that's enough. Like, again, they can play from behind with the Terrorblade, but it's not a good proposition. That's not exactly what you picked the Terrorblade for. You want to be dominant. So, there's some timing issues here for Fnatic. They're going to have to sort it out. As New Esports, Roshan's up. They can easily go for that next Rosh, perfectly timed.
And that they will. Yamate just pops the MOM and gets himself started. Of course, Fnatic should be well aware that they might be going for this, but they're trying to go mid, or rather bot instead. A nice hook shot out. Candy does get hooked up. He can't TP out here with that BKB, and he is going to accept the fact that he is just dead. And that is a huge kill out for Fnatic.
Oh, that's Candy's first death of the game. So a great pickoff. It does come at the cost of Roche. This is going to be flying really fast for New Esports. Aegis and Cheese on the deck. There's a rocket flare to spot. It's a bit too late, as the objective's gone. So they trade a kill for that. I think New Esports are still in a good spot. They do smoke up.
Can't blame him. Aegis Chrono is off, and that 10-second BKB charge is still there for Yamate. Ice does not want him to show himself down bot at the moment. He's just throwing Venom wards out. Moon, oh no, Moon! No. Chrono is actually going to connect, and he's gone. He was just stuck in the air. I was wondering where he was.
No, he remnanted right in front of Barry. Just really unfortunate. They find the kill they'd want to get for the Chrono anyway. And New Esports, I mean, look at this. They just wait for the runes. This is what I love. They play around these map timers so well. They never give up in bounty runes. They always time Roche perfectly. It is just really surgical from New Esports.
It is. That net worth just continuing to climb. Of course, did go down a little bit when they did kill off that Nature's Prophet, but it just went back up after that Moon death. Dota Plus right now, John, already sitting at 95% win chance for New Esports.
Radiant's courier
I would probably agree with that, if I'm completely honest, especially considering Yamate is about to have a full eye of Skadi up on that Void. That's going to be very problematic when you count the Vessel and the Shiver's Guard on DDZ. It's just, Sunder's going to do nothing. Neither is the IO is not going to be able to heal at all. This is all along with an Ancient Apparition with Ice Blast.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
It's too much. It's too much to play up against New Esports. It might be a bit overkill, but it's paying off. So if it works, you can't really slam it, and you can see New Esports smoke up again. They're always the aggressors. Fnatic, how many times have we seen them smoke? Not as much.
Nice. They know he's around there somewhere. Now showing himself mid lane. DDZ going to go for the immediate roll in. Does connect with the border smash, and now the follow-up roll. Roll straight back out, and Ice committing the buyback. They want to try and fight this out, but the Ice Blast again going to connect on through. And now Yamate just comes in, and look at Raven getting bashed up. He'll be relocated out with the BKB. Oh no, they're going to waste the whole BKB duration. situation, and now Yamate will just go after Moon. There's Yasunder out, but Raven is surrounded once again. There's another tether out from AU. Raven still safe, but Yamate, he does not care. He should have Chrono in about 25 seconds, in fact. Not even needing it for this team fight. They'll get the Terrorblade. Now after DJ on the clockwork, they will find a secondary, or rather a fourth pickup in AU. What would it mean without a team fight or a team wipe? They get everything. They get absolutely everything. That was without a Chrono, John.
And
he still has the Aegis.
He's diving in, Yamate. He's going all the way. Yeah, he buys out a Deso in the enemy base, as you would often want to do that. And Fnatic, 35 to 14, 25k lead, man. I don't know how to bounce back. If there's a way they call it.
Wow,
boy.
What a showing from New Esports. Very impressive here from this Radiant side. And again, John, I said this in game 1, that if you asked anybody who the underdogs would be up against Fnatic in this first series of the day, you'd have to say